Hi everyone, this is Sheila with Successful Women Talk, and I'm excited to present to you today's interview or chat. We had a very special guest today. We talked with Cecelia Mecca from Cool Baby Kid. She's also the co-owner of Double Duty Divas and the Reviewers Retreat Conference. So we were able to spend a few minutes with her. We talked about the business of mommy blogging. We talked about the business of her being a busy mom of 2 children. She is actually still a teacher, and she runs several businesses on the side. So interesting conversation with her, learned a lot. She gives some insight into what it takes to be a mommy blogger, the importance of social media, networking, and being a business owner in general. So here's the interview, and don't forget at the end to leave your comment and let us know what you think. Thanks a lot, guys. Hi everyone, this is Sheila Butler with Successful Women Talk, and I am so excited today. We have very special guest, Cecelia Mecca. Cecelia is a mom of 2. She's a very busy mom of 2. She's an English teacher in Northeast Pennsylvania. She's the author at coolbabykids.com. She's the co-owner of Double Duty Divas and the co-owner of Reviewers Retreat blog conference. So welcome, Cecelia.
Thank you for having me, Sheila.
Well, we certainly appreciate it. So why don't we start off, I'll just ask you the same question I ask everybody else, which is tell us a little bit about your background and how you got started in business.
Sure. As an English teacher, I love to write. So the Cool Baby Kid, which is a blog that highlights cool pics and tips for parents, kind of came very naturally. Actually, it was a wiki when it first started, which dates back a little bit, if you've heard of that. And when blogs came out, I said, this is definitely for me. I love to shop. I love to share cool things. So the blog kind of started organically that way. After a few years, I actually met my business partner at Blog Her, which is a conference for ladies online, and that was in 2009. We both worked full-time with small children and had our review blogs and started to think about ways that we could help each other. So Double Duty Divas was born at that time because we were doing double, sometimes it's triple duties. And it really just started off as a way to help each other grow. We shared, readers, we shared information, and then it grew from 5 to 10 to now we have almost 1,500 people in our network, bloggers, many mom bloggers, and we've connected with companies doing some consulting, and that's really how it got started. 2 years ago, we decided to have kind of a meetup for our divas, and as it grew, and that meetup turned into a 3-day conference, which is kind of our current passion. Reviewers Retreat really focuses on the niche of blogging that we call review blogging, where bloggers will highlight companies and brands, and it's a lot of fun. So we just had our second Reviewers Retreat 2 weeks ago, and are already working on 2013. So kind of have the Double Duty Divas is our umbrella company, and the Reviewers Retreat is really our latest outreach.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Now, so you've had your second one. Now I noticed that you guys did your last one. I don't remember about the first one. But your last one was like at Great Wolf Lodge.
Yes, and we're working on the location for 2013 and hoping to announce that in mid-July. But since so many of our network owners are women, and many of them moms, probably about 80% that came to the conference this year brought their families, we wanted to kind of give them a way to not have to choose between should I go to the conference or should I, be with my family. So we made it very family friendly. Great Wolf Lodge obviously was a place where the family can come to the water park. We had sessions with, larger breaks than you would typically have, and just were cognizant that there were families there as well. And the location for 2013, while we haven't announced it, will definitely be family friendly and kind of a hybrid between family vacation and, educational conference.
I think that's excellent. And I think this shows the difference in, I'm not going to pick on men, but when women business owners set something up and you're doing something like a retreat, you always keep another woman in mind.
We do.
And it could, because you are a mother, and it's such a challenge. So, I was reading recently a study, and it said that during the recession, women-owned businesses did better than some of the men-owned businesses because we multitask. Mm-hmm. We understand how to cut a budget down. We understand how to do all of those things and keep things going. And we keep other women in mind. So I love that you guys did that.
Thank you. Yeah, we would like to attend our own conference, but we're a little bit busy and can't. That's what we said. We kind of are creating a conference that if we went to, this is what we would like. And we get feedback and have improved each year and are excited. Our title sponsor was Pampers both year. a fantastic family-friendly company, and we really just kind of, as you said, keep other women in mind. And although not all are moms, a majority are, and so we kind of design it around that. And we love it. We absolutely love it.
That's wonderful. And the feedback, I'm sure, was probably fairly positive as well.
Yes, very positive. As a matter of fact, after the first year, when we were reading the kind of questionnaires that we did, we thought, next year, there's no way we can top this. Everything was positive. And, everybody had a great experience. So we were a little bit nervous because we set the bar higher than it expected. Neither one of us were event planners. And we just, like I said, just kind of created an event that we would like to attend. And so we were happy for the second year as well. And again, are kind of apprehensive about 2013. How can we possibly top it? We've built a little bit. We had approximately 70 people the first year, about 130 this year. And while we are okay growing a bit, we do want to keep it fairly small and intimate, because a lot of the feedback that we got, both from attendees and sponsors, was that they liked meeting everybody. We're excited to go to other conferences like Blog Her. Bridget, my partner, she has a blog called Experimental Mommy, and some other ladies that work with us, Renee from What Mommies Need, and Angie from My Four Monkeys. They've just been fabulous divas with us and working on the conference. We're going to be going to Blog Her and are happy to do that, but it's a totally different model. We won't get to see everybody all the time. And at Reviewers Retreat, basically you're going to every party and every session together. So you really build that relationship. But, I encourage, there are so many really neat events and conferences out there, and especially for bloggers or for women who have businesses online, I think it's important to get out there and meet in real life too, because those connections that you make, when you meet one-on-one, really can't be replaced online.
I agree. Every businesswoman that I talk with or that I have interviewed has said the same thing. The biggest, most important thing in their business is networking, building relationships.
Absolutely, 100%. Our business was created because of that, and I couldn't agree more.
Okay, so let's talk about, you guys we talked about the importance of networking and stuff. So what impact has social media had in your businesses, all three of those? How do they link together, and how do you guys use social media?
Social media is really the cornerstone, I guess, of all three, and has changed quite a bit. When I started with Cool Baby Kid in 2007, things were very different. Twitter, for instance, is probably the social media platform I use most now. Wasn't even around. And so it's very important. However, as I kind of said earlier, as important as social media is, building those connections in real life and then linking them to your social media platform is just as important. When we work with brands doing outreach on, let's say, review campaigns or Twitter parties and such, trying to keep it somewhat personal, I know that's hard to do, is important, because if you don't have a real connection, social media is for all intents and purposes social. Sure. And it's important, I think, to remember that.
I totally agree. And, it's funny. What is your opinion? Like, sometimes you hear, mom bloggers, mom blogs are becoming so popular, and they have such a strong force in our economy. However, every once in a while there are those, like, I did some reviews with some blogs, and you start to get some input from some blogs that you really don't want to do reviews with. So how does someone like you guys, you're one of those well-established, well-known blogs and brands, how do you deal with those outlier review sites, if you know what I mean?
It's I see it on both ends as a blogger, and with the Double Duty Diva Network, that we help companies coordinate campaigns, and we really do rely on the bloggers that we've established relationships with and that we've worked with. That's not to say that a newer blogger can't get a campaign, but being professional online is as important as being professional offline. So setting realistic expectations, not overpromising, meeting deadlines, sending thank yous. If those things aren't there, then, it's just probably not a good fit. And we can pretty much get a good sense of that, when working with someone. But we do rely on some of the bloggers that we've just had relationship with, and we know we'll write a review and we'll do it on time. And being in the space, I think, helps. And that's one of the things, that there are various networks and consulting firms out there. Ours is fairly small with, like I said, about 1,500, but we've gotten to know a lot of them, and being in the space certainly helps. We see some of the same people at conferences. I was at an event last week, and, I would recommend any of the people that I was there with. And so kind of getting to know them is, I think, helpful. it can be difficult and to navigate. And I understand from a company or a brand perspective that there are good and bad, but there are good and bad in just about any
Absolutely.
area that you're looking at, whether it's an education in my real full-time job or one of my businesses. It all boils down to being professional.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. And it's a brand. It's not just, I look at everything I do with a business as a brand.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just extremely important. So talking about your blog and big sponsors, how did you go about, because you've worked with some pretty big sponsors, Ralph Lauren, Mattel, but quite a few others. So how did you get those bigger brands to respond to you, your blog, etc.?
That's a great question, and one that was asked at the conference repeatedly, and it's really quite simple. Being passionate about the brand. If I would absolutely love to go on a cruise, and a family cruise, but I don't write about that. I don't, that's not my focus. And so for me to kind of artificially say, oh, I hear that Carnival is working with bloggers, and let me see if I can kind of jump on that bandwagon. It doesn't really work like that. Pampers, for instance, found me because we used Pampers for 5 years with two of my children. They're younger and having them back to back. And I was talking about them before we worked together. Ralph Lauren is a brand that I love. So these are brands that I was already passionate about. And I think that's the easiest way to go about it. If you are already passionate about it or love a brand or love a product and you start talking about it on your blog, on Twitter, they'll find you. They can track that and see where you're at. Facebook isn't as, Facebook is great for lots of different reasons. But my suggestion, if you do want to work with a brand that you genuinely love and are passionate about, write a blog post. It doesn't have to be compensated. Write a blog post about them. Send it over on Twitter. I do this with brands right now that I don't work with that I would love to. And, in the long run, it usually pays off.
Yeah, I love that. That's a terrific point, because I think it all goes back to being authentic. So you have to, you're going to promote things that you care about. And as a mommy blogger, it's things that involve your family. And there's no greater value than what you put in your children and the things that you subject them to. So, and I think brands are going to see through the authenticity.
And they do, and rightly so. Just this last week, I was on a trip for CVS, and I'll tell you, I started working with CVS Pharmacy because I use CVS Pharmacy and have for years. And I actually tweeted about their awesome customer service. I have a daughter who has regular medication. We go there all the time, and I just love them. I love the drive-through and the convenience and all kinds of things. I started tweeting them, and that's how they found me.
I think that's the best thing. I think it's organic, and I think it takes time. You hear a lot of people go, well, how can I do a video that's going to go viral? Or how can I write a post that's going to go viral? Well, you don't know that. I mean, it just depends. And I don't think you can. I think you have to go in it for the long run and do the right things and be authentic. And, karma, things will come around that are supposed to.
100% believe in that. As I said, we were at a trip last week, talked to some bloggers that, really feel the same, and that there are some in the space that maybe aren't doing it the way they probably should, and that's not for us to judge. But I think karma is certainly, we see evidence all the time of good people getting good opportunities. I have some blog friends right now over in Disneyland, hanging out with the Disney folks for the Brave premiere, and they couldn't deserve it more. There's some great people over there, and I'm real excited for them. So I think you're absolutely right.
That's terrific. So what role does, I know technology, of course, plays a role in your business, but what type of technologies do you use in your business to run your business?
We use, it depends on, when you say business, it depends on the business.
Which one?
Blog, the consulting. I'll take Reviewers Retreat. I mean, we start off with just a simple WordPress site. We had it custom designed. We use, lots of different sites, but Eventbrite as an event planner is invaluable. A lot of different websites and resources that, to be honest, I found through other people, with the Divas, for instance. I'm going to be honest, Google. I mean, we talked to some other people who do similar things to us, and there's some fancy things out there, but they said, just Google Spreadsheet, and I'll tell you, we use that and the forms like nobody's business. And
I agree 100%. And it's free, and it's there.
And it's free, and I love it. Love it, love it.
I switched to Gmail about 3 years ago, and I love Gmail.
I don't remember life without Gmail, to be honest.
I don't know. How does it work? I mean, was there something before? It's the same way. I have my phone. All of my accounts are hooked up to. I mean, it's amazing. So, when people say, how do you do it? I mean, I have a 3.5-year-old and a 2.5-year-old. Well, I do it around them, but I have a smartphone that's smarter than me and it has everything in it that I need.
I don't know how people existed without smartphones. I'm sure I know they did. I did. But I can't imagine not. As a matter of fact, just this morning, I was at the grocery store. My iPhone was dead, and I felt so disconnected. Like, what did people do? And I couldn't wait to get to the car to plug it in to just see what was going on.
You probably cut your shopping experience short so you could charge your phone.
I may have. Possible.
That's great. So let's talk about that, because you are a busy mom, and there are a lot of ladies out there that go, maybe I have the talent, but I don't have the time. And my opinion of that is we all have the same amount of time. It depends upon how you spend it. So you're a busy mama too, have 3 different companies. How do you do it?
Good question. Focusing, and I'm still working at that, to be honest with you, but really trying to find a focus. And I know multitasking can be useful in times, but I find it's easier to have a daily goal. And I know exactly this is what I'm going to, accomplish each day. For me, goals are so important. Long-term ones, short-term goals, but even daily ones. I know I want to write these 2 posts today. I know by the end of the week that I have to, get this campaign finished or whatever it is. So having goals to me is number 1 and helps quite a bit. And then, as you said, working around the kids, I try to let this be secondary to them. Since mine are little, we're just getting out of nap time, but we have quiet time that replaces that. When they go to bed on the weekend, when my husband is home, I'll take an hour in the morning, let's say, and really kind of working around that. But without having some kind of goals, I would spend most of my online time on Pinterest, and it would just not be good.
Oh, me too. It will suck you in.
I love it. I haven't quite figured out how to harness it yet for the business aspect of it. But I still can't help it, and I'm on there just about every day. But I'll tell myself, okay, 10 minutes on Pinterest, that's it. And I usually stick to it because I know I have other things to get done.
Because that's your goal. You have a little sticky that says, my goal is 15 minutes on Pinterest, period.
Yep. I remember asking somebody once at a conference, a social media person, if I had 5 minutes a day to, get my posts out there, what should I do? And I was asking the question because I really have about 5 minutes a day. I would love to be able to spend time on Clout and on Twitter and on Facebook and on Pinterest and on Tumblr and all of the others. I don't have that time. And, I think that if I did, probably I could build the blog up even more, but I'm kind of happy where I'm at. And that's really another key too, is try not to look at what other people are doing. It's really hard to do, I think. And certainly it's nice to see, what other designs people have and who they're working with, and it can kind of help you a bit. But if you start to think about what they're doing in terms of what I should be doing, that becomes really difficult, because if you have limited time, actually it's impossible. You just can't do it because you don't know their circumstance and what they have going on. And you kind of have to be, and I am happy where I'm at right now. And, certainly, like I said, I could probably grow Cool Baby Kid if I wanted to sacrifice other areas. I don't. So that's where, we're at.
That's great. I think that's terrific advice, because so many times we're chasing after someone else when if we would just focus right there in front of us, we need to meet our own goals.
That's right.
We don't know what someone else's goals are, and so I think that's a terrific point. So let me ask you then, how do you, because we're all busy, and like you said, you don't have all that extra time either. Do you try and write all your posts at one time? Do you try and do them like maybe on the weekend you write 4 or 5 posts? How do you do that, and how do you schedule it?
You know what I use, again, going back to Google, as soon as I get, for me, it's a product review site. So it's very heavily kind of managing brands and reviews. But as soon as I get a product, and I'm very picky because I have to be, I can't post every day, and I don't post every day. But once I get something, I'm probably pretty sure I'm going to love it. I immediately thank them, let them know I have it. Going back to that idea of just kind of being a professional too, immediately put it on my Google Calendar, and I really don't look at that calendar until it comes up. So if it's 2 weeks or 3 weeks, then when it comes up, I do it. And I usually do them that day. So, I'm working on a post right now, today, for Dallas, and finished the screeners last night, which I'm a little behind because it was actually premiered last week. But I'm doing that today, hope to get it up today. So a lot of times I'll do it in the morning. I get up at 5 typically when I'm working. So since I'm a teacher and off, I'm getting up early anyway, and I get a lot done in the morning. So I'll do probably a good hour's worth of work before everybody's even up. And that's my favorite time of the day. I do a little exercising, a little blogging, and, kids are up, we're ready to go.
Exactly. Get on with your day.
With the rest of the day, yeah. And,
Exactly.
and the Doc McStuffins and the learning time and coloring and pool and whatever else it happens to be. But I am lucky to be off in the summer. You know, I know that's not something every working mom can say, so I'm very thankful for that. And I do get a lot more done in the summer. And when fall hits, I post less, and, you know, it is what it is.
That's great. I talked to a lady the other day, and she does sort of the same thing. She homeschools, but they have a very strict homeschool schedule. So her blog and stuff is an extremely popular blog, but she doesn't do it. It's part time during the school year. During the summer she ramps that up, and on weekends she uses some time when her husband is home, and she usually does about 4 posts so she can schedule those things out. She said if she didn't, she wouldn't be able to keep up.
I always say I'm going to do that, but then other things, life seems to interfere every week.
Life happens.
It does, and I'm okay with that. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you had some advice to give to someone maybe thinking about starting a business, whether that be a blog, product business, review, blog business, whatever that might be, what would you tell another lady out there? What type of advice would you give? You know,
watching videos like this, to me, it was finding kind of a mentor and looking toward somebody that maybe has done it, not reinventing the wheel. If it's a blog, then reach out to a blogger and, you know, ask questions. If it's a business, reach out to a business, maybe a non-competing business or whatever, and ask some questions and do your research. You know, I actually went to, my undergrad was in English. My graduate school was all education. So this is really a new to me. So I went to the Small Business Development Center in the area that I live, the college that runs that, and I actually took some classes, and I, you know, just kind of learned a little bit, not that I'm by any means, you know, where I'd like to be, and I'm continuing to learn, but I kind of educated myself, and I think that's step one, just making sure that you're 100%, you know, knowing what you're getting into before you jump in, you know, 2 feet.
I think that's terrific advice. Yeah, I'm a lifelong learner, and I think it's important. And I'm also a special Googleologist. I call myself a Googleologist because I think you can find anything on Google. Like, what did we do before Google? I kind of feel the same way.
As a matter of fact, I know one of the popular questions at our conference is always, you know, how do I monetize my blog? I put so much into it. How do I make money? I remember when I first wondered the same thing. You know, after a few years, you start to think, okay, you know, this is a lot of work, and I'd like to get some more return. I Googled that, and I remember finding sample media kit on, I'll never forget, on Mom Bloggers Club by Jennifer James. She does this awesome site, and I've gotten so many resources from there and other bloggers. And I found the media kit, and it had prices, and it had all kinds of things, and I actually used that as a starting point. So, yeah, I'm a Googleologist too, I think.
That's right. Don't reinvent the wheel. It's out there.
Yeah,
find
absolutely.
a mentor. I think that's terrific advice.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, a lot of people say this too. A lot of people think, I can just start a blog a couple of days a week, and advertisers are going to flock to me, and readers, advertisers and readers. So how does one go about, where were you? You do some advertising on your site. Where were you before you were able to actually pick up some advertisers as far as visitors, etc.? How did that work for you?
Well, I'll tell you what, to be blunt, advertising isn't really the big money maker for a review blog like mine. There are different types of blogs. I know, you know, some of my friends that are bargain or coupon bloggers, they have higher traffic and they're able to get more in advertising, and they monetize very differently. A site like mine, it's cool pics. And so if someone's looking for a really great birthday gift for a toddler boy, I'm hoping they come to Cool Baby Kid. However, it's not the same type of traffic, so I have to monetize in other ways, you know, do some sponsored posts, and really some of the ambassadorships and partnerships have really been, you know, worked well for me. So advertisers still don't flock to my site, and, you know, and that's why, you know, when we created the Divas, we know that there are different types of bloggers and different, you know, things that people are looking for, and it's a lot of work. And I've sat down with a few people who wanted to start a blog, and I didn't realize when I sat down with them, okay, this is how you start a blog. There's a lot of work involved as far as promoting and all of that. And I did that 3 times, and none of the 3 have stayed with it, and I don't blame them. It's a lot of work. But if you love it, and for me, I love to write, and so it's an outlet for me, you know, it can be a lot of fun too. Absolutely.
I think that's terrific advice, because I think people need to know that it doesn't happen immediately. And for some people, it doesn't happen at all.
Right.
So you have to have that passion. You take someone like me, My English teacher from high school probably doesn't even remember me because I was a good daughter, a poor student, but a great social butterfly. But you know what? I get through it. I can write. I mean, I've gone on to get an MBA as well. But you know, it's okay. You don't have to. Just try it. And if it doesn't work, do something different. Be creative. Find a different source.
And I know it's hard sometimes. You say, you know, do your whatever your passion is, and then you think, well, how do I do that? For me, it took 38 years to figure out, you know, when that Mega Millions came a few months ago and everybody was, you know, all excited about it. I thought if I won that, I would still do the reviewers retreat. And that told me a lot. Took me that long to kind of figure that out. And in a million years, I wouldn't have ever said, you know, event planning, that's what I want to do. It just kind of grew on its own. And I think that's, you know, if you can explore things, though, it won't kind of come knocking at your door. You have to kind of explore and try different avenues. I've done all kinds of things. I started in 2004 a cosmetics company. You know, I've never been afraid to fail, and I think that's kind of important too.
I agree with that 100%. Probably my most favorite thing that you've said, because I don't consider that failure, as you probably don't either.
Right.
I consider it I'm building character and I'm growing. And if it didn't work, failure is if I stop.
Yeah.
So failure is, you know, maybe that blog didn't work out, or maybe that company didn't work out, but that's okay because I learned from it. As long as you learn from it.
Right. And that's when I went back to business school for basically for that company and all. And I learned a lot. Like, you're absolutely right. You know, and someday maybe I'd love to come back to it, but you just never know. As long as you explore, I think you'll find it. And for me, the turning point was really, you know, in 2009 when I met my business partner and just two like-minded people started to brainstorm. I think there's nothing like a good old brainstorming session.
I agree. I love partnering with people. It makes it, you know, it helps me grow my brain. It makes me think outside of the box because we all get right here, and which makes sense because we're in the middle of it. But hearing someone else go, well, why didn't you try that? I'm like, it's the same thing when I do business consulting. I can go in and look at their entire logistics and operations system and go, well, why do you do it that way? Well, we always have. So it helps, you know, it's a different set of eyes makes a big difference.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, this has been a fantastic interview, or chat. I like to call it a chat.
Oh,
if
sure.
people wanted to hook up with you, we'll link all of your sites up below, but where's the best place for them to find you?
Twitter. As I mentioned, I'm on there a lot. I love Twitter. It's at CoolBabyKid. So that would probably be one of the best places. And then through my email, through the sites, I have lots of emails and lots of sites, so you can find me on any of those. But definitely hook up on Twitter. I'm happy to help anyone in any way I can.
We appreciate it. Cecelia, I'm going to link everything up. I certainly appreciate you taking the time to talk with me today.
Well,
if we can influence one lady out there, if we could be a role model to even one person, we've made a big difference.
I hope we do.
I hope we
Thanks
have.
for having me.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Okay. Bye-bye.